Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome to Dungeon Video. This is my 31 Days of Horror, my 1950s versus 1960s series. Yesterday I reviewed Dracula Prince of Darkness from 1966, directed by Terence Fisher, and today will be reviewing a 1950s movie. And from 1954 we have the Alfred Hitchcock classic Rear Window, arguably one of his best movies. From 1954. So, Rear Window is a 1954 American Technicolor mystery thriller film directed by Alfred Hitchcock and written by John Michael Hayes. Based on the Cornwell Woolrich's 1942 short story It Had to Be a Murder. Originally released by Paramount Pictures, the film stars Jimmy Stewart, James Stewart, Grace Kelly, Wendell Corey, Thelma Ritter, and Raymond Burr. You know Raymond Burr if you've watched the Godzilla classic. It was screened at the 1954 Venice Film Festival. The film is considered by many filmgoers, critics, and scholars to be one of Hitchcock's best and one of the greatest films ever made. Okay. It received 4 Academy Award nominations and was ranked number 42 in AFI's 100 Greatest Years, 100 Greatest Movies. And 1997, it was added to the National Film Registry in the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. Okay, so the plot follows a recuperating photographer, Jimmy Stewart, who is confined to his apartment in Greenwich Village. His rear window looks out into the courtyard of several other apartments. During a powerful heat wave, he watches his neighbors who keep their windows open to stay cool. He observes a flamboyant dancer he nicknames Miss Torso, a single-minded, middle-aged woman he calls Mrs. Lonely Hearts, and a talented middle-aged composer, pianist, and several other married couples, one of them newlyweds, a female sculptor, and the suspicious Lars Thorwald, who's played by Raymond Burr. First off the bat, Rear Window is not really a horror movie per se, more of a thriller. But to me, thrillers are horror's ugly cousin. I put a lot of thrillers into my collection anyway because they kind of cross lines anyway, and a lot of thrillers cross into horror territory, a lot of horrors cross into thriller mystery territory, and I think if this was in this day and age, there'd be a lot more blood and a lot more gore. It'd probably be considered a horror, but a lot of horror connoisseurs would probably love this movie anyway. It has influenced everything from Fright Night to The Simpsons. I mean, the first Simpsons episode I can remember watching was the actual Rear Window adaptation, which was good, and I did enjoy that as a kid. And I never knew about Rear Window, never knowing where it came from. I guess it created the building blocks for a lot of Fear the Neighbor horror movies, like in Fright Night, Disturbia, and those type of movies, and so it really had an influence on horror and thriller and those type of movies. So Jimmy Stewart is confined to his apartment as he's frequently visited by his occupational therapist, and played by Thelma Ritter. And who stops by a lot is also his ever so gorgeous girlfriend Grace Kelly, who plays Lisa Fremont. And Lisa Fremont and Jeff kind of have a tense type of relationship because Jeff's an international photographer and Lisa's a fashion model, so he believes that she couldn't travel with him or they couldn't have a really good relationship because they'd be on different wavelengths, and he doesn't really want to propose. He's a bit hesitant, even though his occupational therapist actually keeps telling him to marry the girl, as she says. And Raymond Burr plays Lars Thorwald, the suspected killer who Stewart's character, Jeff Jeffries, is keeping a close eye on. The point of view from Jeff's apartment gives you the glimpse into the lives of people living in the surrounding apartments, and Hitchcock nails the cinematography and lighting, which is the real winner of the movie. You can tell the lighting's fantastic. There's some mid shots of Jimmy Stewart just standing there watching. You can see other long shots of people living in their apartments, and that really works well. It gives you a type of confinement. You're living inside Jeff Jeffries' shoes. You feel confined in the apartment. You feel like you're in his shoes. And Jimmy Stewart to me is Jimmy Stewart in every movie. He just from Rope to this, and he feels like he plays the same character over and over again. Smart, witty, that 50s conservative man. I don't think he's very versatile. He seems like he's a bit of a goof, and I don't know how Grace Kelly's really interested in him. But you know what? Good for him. I guess he's the ideal representation of the 50s man. Like I mentioned, it's not really a horror movie, though you do really feel trapped, and you do feel the tension, you do feel the dread in some of the scenes that you can see through the apartment, the suspected killer. Well, he's a suspected killer, yeah, you don't know if he is a killer or not. And once again, the cinematography is absolutely exceptional. And you can see Hitchcock just follows through with movies like The Birds and Psycho. I think if Hitchcock was alive today, I think he would be a horror director. And so I think he really did like making Psycho. And he nailed all the horror tropes, everything that became horror tropes and the classic thing. And I'm not sure if this movie was holding back from showing a little bit more gore, a little bit more tension, but it's definitely a solidified thriller. But that takes nothing away from it. It is an exceptional movie and it's superb. So
I love watching scary movies while cuddled up with my delicious chocolate cereal, Count Chocula.
Switch to something better, you chockaloon. My delicious strawberry-flavored Frankenberry.
Tune in, Frank. Count Chocula has chocolate marshmallows.
Wrong channel, Choc. Frankenberry has delicious strawberry-flavored marshmallows.
Kids love Count Chocula.
Kids love Frankenberry. And I love their commercials. You can enjoy this nutritious breakfast with Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Isn't this amazing? Happens everywhere we go. Cats just naturally drawn to Johnny Cat.
That's right, because it's long-lasting and absorbs odor. Johnny Cat's the best-selling litter in the West.
All right, little critters, let's move them out.
Johnny Cat, the litter that won the West.
the other thing that really works with Hitchcock movies is the dialogue. And he gives you a lot of context. It feels like it's really authentic. Gives the movie a lot of authenticity. You feel like you know the characters, their background, their motives, everything that's happening in the movie, and that works really well in a lot of Hitchcock movies. So Rear Window I did enjoy, and I'd give Rear Window a solid 8 out of 10. I think it's an exceptional movie, a cut above, and yes, an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for stopping by the dungeon. Please subscribe or comment if you would.